In this video, we will look at formatting well logs. A challenge when working with well logs is that even though we have the LAS file format, they come in different forms and shapes. The format well log workflow standardizes the property specifications in the LAS file. Let's start by inspecting a well log. Drag it to the desktop and then right-click to investigate the properties and the file header. What you can see is that we have the labels for the different properties, and these can vary. And then we have the units for the different properties, and they can also vary. And then we have the description of the different properties, and sometimes they are meaningful, other times they are less meaningful, as in this case. So this is what we want to improve. So let's just close this, and before we start, we want to start a reporting so that we can see a little bit the effect of what we are doing. So we just start up the report here, create a new report, and we're just loading it to see it's all blank, just containing the first page. And then we proceed to go into the model and choose the Enter Format well log workflow. Then we choose the well log that we want to apply the workflow to. And we can choose to click on the histogram to inspect details about the well log. And we can go and set the proper units. In version 2.3.1 and later, there is an auto-detect feature for the units based on what is in the well log, so it will help you find the proper unit automatically. And then we just proceed here by specifying the different properties for volume fractions, velocities, densities, and so on. In this way, the workflow will know which logs relates to which property, and it can proceed with formatting them in a standardized way. At the bottom here, you can see different specifications, generate a report, and so on that you can apply. We give the log another tag at the end, so it will use the same file name as the original log, but then added Enter. As the workflow goes on, you will see a processing window pops up displaying what is going on. Finally, it's saving the report. When the workflow is done, we can just close this window. And we see now that the new log has been imported, and we can inspect it. We can see that it contains different properties or renamed properties compared to what it had before. If we go into the header file, we can see now that they have different descriptions that are more meaningful, the labels are different, and we have standardized the units to the Enter format standard that we use. Now, if we look in the report, what we will see here is that a number of slides have been added. There is information about the well log itself, details on which curves have been removed and which curves have been added. You can see a list of the old curves and pages showing the new curves, and you can see some general crossplots that have been made. So all of this is done automatically when you turn the reporting on and doing this workflow. We have here a second log that we can also inspect. Again, we see here the description is a little bit better actually in this log. And we repeat the process for this log. We select the Format well log workflow, we choose the well log, and we proceed by specifying the different properties. In some cases, we don't have that property in the well log, and then we choose the undefined, which is just a log containing not any numbers. For example, the CO2 was not in this log and not in the previous log, so we specify undefined. This log also does not contain S velocity, so also there we specify undefined. And we proceed with running the workflow. See the processing window here. It's saving the report, and this is taking a little bit of time because it's creating all those slides and saving this to disk. Now the workflow is done. We can close the window, and we see that it has been added to the projects. We can inspect it. Look at the header. See that the labels have changed, the units, and the description. And we can see now that more slides have been added, and in this case many of them are blank because we were missing the S velocity. The purpose of doing this will make itself more apparent later when working with these well logs. Having them in a standard way makes it a lot easier to automate certain processes.